And we are live with Iconic TV. Welcome, everybody. We are here every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, and you can watch us on any of the channels, whether it's in Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn. And what we want to do today is we want to talk about something that we like to do on an annual basis. And this is about new events that are happening. And when something big, something pivotal is about to happen, you really want to pay attention. And today is one of those days. You see, right now, we're just a little over 100 days into the year. The question is, how are you doing? Have you made it 1/3 of the way to your goals yet? And if not, now's the time that we want to focus on that. So here's the thing. There's a phenomenon called hypergrowth, when all of a sudden everything just starts growing like crazy. And it doesn't happen for everybody, but it does happen in certain sectors and segments. And hopefully you're going to be in one of these segments. And if you're not, I'm going to show you how you can get in there and what you can do to take advantage of the hyper growth, because there's what's called a ripple effect, right? And what's going to happen in some areas can ripple out to other areas. Do you remember, think back to way back, like 2008 in the mortgage blow up crisis? And people that weren't in the housing market got affected by the crash of the housing market. So we're going to talk about this. Why is this hyper growth phenomenon happening? How can it affect you? And how can you take advantage of it? So that's really what we're here to talk about today. I hope you're excited to get going, because this is going to be a jam-packed show, and we're going to start right now. All right. Here's the thing. Yes, you have to get seen every day. You have to do a lot of different strategies that are important, and we got to figure out what are they. So let's quickly go over what we're talking about. We're talking about how does AI play into this. Now, gosh, it was back not too long ago, right? Last November, and AI was just coming onto the scene. It was super exciting. Everybody got into it, and then it kind of died down. People kind of got over their shiny object syndrome, and some people really stuck with it, and those people did really well. Well, now we're going to take advantage of some of those benefits for this hyper growth process. So today, this is part of the series that we're doing, right? Today, we're going to talk about how is it going to affect your sales, your numbers, which is also about the way you think about your business and your mindset. And then next week, we're going to talk about the mechanics and how does AI get used for growing your business. And then the third week, we're going to talk about momentum. How do you really get all those leads and scale really big? So what's happening here is that we are actually having what is called a black swan event. Have you heard of these before? Okay. Maybe you've heard of a black swan event. It's when all these interesting circumstances come together to create something very unique. And this is what we're experiencing right now. And why is it happening? Well, there's a lot going on right now, if you think about it, right? There's coming up, is it today or is it in a couple of days, the halving of Bitcoin, right? And people go crazy on this. Some people are going to really clean up, and some people are going to go, oh, I missed it. There's also a lot of global crises happening. There's political shifts that are happening and economic shifts that are happening. And you might be noticing a change in business. And here's one of the changes that's been happening that just took place. If you're watching me on Facebook, maybe this is going to really apply to you. But if you're not, this will still apply to you, because this is still the largest marketplace. When you really want to have an impact on your sales, this is still where you buy ads, where you connect with the most amount of people. And I know there's lots of people using YouTube, lots of people using TikTok, but as far as monetizing your business, this is still your number one platform. And guess what? Facebook just announced a huge change. And guess what they decided? This is pivotal for some of you. They have decided to take away their API. What does that mean? That means that you can't use the apps in Facebook groups. So how do you actually continue to do all you're doing with the automation, simplify your world? And isn't that why we use it, to make everything faster and easy and smoother and less work on our part? And now Facebook said, no, we're going to take all of that away. So what does that mean? Do you have to go back manually? Do you lose your business? There are a number of software companies that were strictly based on this. They based their whole business strategy around these APIs and being able to interact with Facebook, and now it's gone. So for some people, that was also their business. I know groups that had hundreds of thousands of people in it, and guess what? That's going to completely change the dynamic. So what does that mean for everybody else? That less people are going to go there. It's going to be harder. It's not going to be as interesting. And how's that going to affect your business? So if you haven't seen all the changes with Facebook and how that works, and you want to know, oh my gosh, I have a group, or I was thinking about it, or I'm trying to build a community and I can't do it, what do you need to do? And the question is it just Facebook? Is it just groups? Is it going to be any other platforms? Are platforms going to be more territorial and not have as much outside influence from other apps and things? So you kind of wonder, is this the beginning of a shift? Is this a new Black Swan event that's coming up? So if you're curious, how do you do this? How do you navigate around this? I put together something for you to really help you do this so that you can still monetize and go viral with groups. And that's on LinkedIn, on doing it with YouTube. How do you manage these communities and groups, and how do you do it organically? So all of the different platforms we put together, just so you can kind of see it right here. There's the whole iconic series, and this is what we call monetize to millions with Facebook groups, and how to be the influencer, how to go viral, how to know what your content is, everything that you're going to need, how to get everything set up, because all of the things change. All you have to do, if you want to get this and stay ahead of the curve, you've got about 6 more days until this kicks in, and then all of the ability to use apps with Facebook is going to be gone. Okay. And you didn't have much choice. See, what happened was they just announced it within the last 2 weeks, and nobody knew. There was no buzz around it. Nobody was preparing for it. And so that's it. I mean, might be some ways to do an auth around it, but that's going to be a chore, right? How many of us are really techie? No, not many. Okay. So I want you to keep that in mind. A lot of things are changing, and AI is right behind it, but you can also use AI to get ahead of it. Okay. So let me ask for you. How are you doing? Are you set up to scale, or are you set up to fail? Because there's a lot of people out there that are doing business in an interesting way, and you feel like, okay, I'm building a business, it's growing and it's scaling, or I'm ready to scale, but are you really? Okay. So if you notice, there's sort of two halves of the coin, and we talked about this about 2 weeks ago, and it's all about what kind of business are you building. There's one half where you're doing the marketing and the lead generation and getting to people and closing them and selling them, because that's what we're talking about today. But then after that, you have the other portion, which is the fulfillment. And that's on the second half. Is after you deliver, you've got to, sell it, you've got to deliver it and fulfill, right? But this is where most people miss it. And they are so focused on leads, right? And then they get some, and then they close some, and then they weren't prepared. And so now they're worrying about working with the clients. And guess what happens? Then all the lead generation goes away. And so people are in this constant cycle, right? Of generation and fulfillment, and their income goes with it. It goes up and down and up and down and up and down. Has that been your experience? And what's happened is, you didn't build a true sales organization. You actually built a lead generation organization. And so this is where the AI is going to really come in, and you can use different technologies. We have a whole list of them, and all kinds of different prompts and things and tools that you can still use that will keep you ahead without getting in that spiral, right, of lead generation and then fulfillment, scale and fail, scale and fail. And so, what do you really need to do? How do you have to look at this as a CEO of your business? So, there's things you need to start, and there's things you really definitely need to stop. Okay. So, this is a great quote by Carl Bryan, who I just adore. And he says, stop trying to raise your ceiling and start deciding to raise your floor. Isn't that brilliant? So, what does that mean? Most people are so big into, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to accomplish all this, I'm going to accomplish all this. And then they fall to the depth of their systems or the lack of systems, right? And so, you really need to start raising your floor. What is the minimum level of excellence that you're going to accept? What is the minimum level of quality and performance and productivity that you're going to do? Most people are so busy about talking what they're going to do someday, but they're not looking at what's their foundation and how do they raise that so they can actually build a legitimate business. And they're trying to do it all on their own. Okay. Like years ago, I used to live in Denver, Colorado. Loved it. And love skiing, love the 4 seasons and winters and all that kind of stuff. And I would live in the city, and then I had a place in the mountains so I could go up there and go skiing. And, Denver gets pretty cold, and sometimes we have some of that black ice. And I don't know if you guys have ever been on that. Now I'm in California, we don't see any of that. But black ice is something you just can't see. You're walking on it. It looks like just asphalt, but it's not. Okay. And what happens is I found out that every winter I would have a huge fall. Like I would not just a little slip and fall on the ice, but a huge one, right? Where I kind of go like this and I do a header and my feet are facing heaven and my head is about to hit the ground and I'm like 3 feet off the air and everybody around me is just watching mouth agape. But what they really want to do is laugh because it is kind of funny, right? And I remember the last time I was doing it, I was coming out of the gym. I had a short skirt, a long fur coat, and high heels. Like, how stupid was that, right? And so I'm trying to go across the parking lot back to my car. And obviously, I hit a patch of black ice and I go up. Now, I knew it was going to happen. I knew every year I was going to fall down. And guess what? I never got help. I never said, hey, could you walk me across here? I didn't take any precautions. I didn't carry boots with me. I didn't have a walking stick, nothing. I thought I could get through it on my own. And here's the thing, right? What we want to do is break your fall. Right? That's me, right? I was always falling down. It was a consistent thing that I did all the time. And it almost became a pattern, right? So if you want to break your fall, if you know there's things that you're trying to do all by yourself and you know you can't get across to the other side on your own, I would love to help you out. Just type callconnie.com or #call and we'll hop on a quick 5 or 10 minute call, see how we can double your profits in that 5 or 10 minutes. And then if you want to lay out a plan of what you need to do or what you need to stop doing, then we can do that. But the thing is, what are you doing consistently that every time you start, it doesn't work? Maybe for some of you, it's just setting goals. Like you don't even set the goals, right? We're 100 days or so into the year. Did you even set a goal for the beginning of the year? Did you set a 100-day goal? We have a sheet called the 100-day goals. And you can use that to track your goals, right? Because what gets measured gets accomplished. So how are you going to break your fall? Because this is the time, because we're experiencing all this hyper growth with new technologies, new circumstances, and you have to take advantage of that, right? Just like you take advantage of the first 100 days, you got to take advantage of hyper growth phenomenon. These little companies that are coming out of nowhere because the big players are not paying attention. They are trying to still do the old thing. They're trying to cross the street on their own. And so you have to be able to say, how can I, as a smaller player, a smaller business, kind of come in and maneuver in between all the chaos? And that is how you can win. I'm going to show you the 5 steps that you can take. So here's the thing. First of all, you got to figure out, what is this? Okay, what do you want to do? I like to say, if you focus on impact versus income, or another way to say it is focus on results versus revenue, you will always get what you want. You'll always get what you want, okay? Instead of focusing on yourself and the me, and what do I need to do, go get some help. right? Find out a faster, better, smarter way to do things because you just don't know enough. If you haven't been there, you don't know the road, right? So that's why you want to get somebody to help you out. So the question is right now, where are you? Okay, we know we're 100 days in, but where are you as far as your strategic growth plan? Are you hitting it or are you still falling down on the ice? And then where do you want to be? Let's just look at it 90 days. Where do you want to be in 90 days? Put down in the comments. Where do you want to be in 90 days? Where do you want to be at the end of the year? Okay, it's not too far away. And it's about 250 days away. So why does it matter? Why is it so important to you? Because if you don't know these three things, those are so important. The where, why, why. If you don't know your where, why, you will never get to your end target. You'll never hit the outcome that you want. So very important to know those. If you want some extra strategies and tools, that resources we have something called a results sheet. Type hashtag results and we can get you that result sheet in one page. You can figure out your where, why. Okay, that's a mouthful. Go ahead and say it. So figure out your where, why, and then you will understand how to get there. So how do we get there, right? Because we're talking about the AI technologies. Everything I'm talking about can be used with AI and backed with AI. And we have a great technology for everything around the mind. If you really need to master your mind, but you need a little help, okay? And there's some healthy, good, not, wonky, weird fads, but some really great technologies that you can use for your mindset to achieve all the goals and to manage the ups and downs that can occur in your business. So here's how a lot of, if you've read the book, okay, Atomic Habits by James Clear, it's a great book. And, if we're looking at what's the secret to happiness, so you've heard of the triggers, right? There's something that's going to trigger you. It can be a trigger in a good way. It could be in a trigger in a bad way. It could be that maybe in a bad way, you're trying to not overeat and get in shape. And then you watch a TV show and there's some people eating ice cream. Guess what? You just got triggered. Okay. So first you have a trigger and then you have habits. You have to develop the habits. So does that mean that, okay, as soon as I see that, now I go to the fridge and go to the freezer and get some ice cream? Or do I go to the gym, right? What are the habits that you employ? And then you need a routine, okay? So those are the things. You have to make sure that you can have a trigger that establishes the habit that develops the routine. That's the secret to happiness, right? So here's the problem though, right? What are the habits? See, it's the habits that are costing you time and money. You might get a trigger, but then do you habitually do these things? This is called the quantum Zeno effect from physics, okay? And so maybe you find that, there's never enough time to get anything done, or your work is just piling up. You're constantly putting out flames in your business, right? And like, here's another thing I have to take care of and another thing and another thing. And then you start to procrastinate. You've got all these unfinished projects and then you're late for meetings if you show up and if you don't cancel. How many of you have ghosted somebody in the past? Not me, of course, but how many of you have ghosted somebody else? And it's just like, I had all these other things to do. Let me tell you, we do a workshop in person. It's live. It's awesome. If you're here in the San Diego area, you can go to the iconicworkshop.com. We're going to do this all year. And here's why. I'm doing it 100% for free. I'm paying for your breakfast. And a whole bunch of us are getting together to network and talk about business strategies. And why? Because most people are doing business wrong. And I want to teach them how to do it the right way, which is focusing on profits. So it's called a Profit Acceleration Workshop. It is so awesome. If you would like an invitation to it, please type profit. If you're not local, type profit anyway down below, and we'll reach out to you and find a workshop in your area that you can attend. And in 100 minutes, you will find $100,000 in your business, and you can get started on it right away. So, but that is actually one of my routines that I do. So, but there's a habit. What are the habits that you are doing that are breaking you from getting your goals? And you want to see the real key. Okay. We looked at the habits, but the real key is the routine. That is the thing. Of those three things, you must establish a routine to get it all done, because the plan right? And the planning are nothing if you don't take the action. And so discipline is the key. And remember, the habits may cost you, but the routines will save you. So, what are your routines? I grew up in Germany, and let me tell you, we have some serious German discipline in our household. I remember from when I was a kid, my mother would come in every Saturday morning. I went to Catholic school. You can still see I have the ruler marks on my hands here from getting slapped all the time for not listening, and staring out the window. And yeah, I was not. Believe it or not, I was not the best child. I was very independent. I didn't want to follow the rules. I don't know if you can see that now, but so yeah, I didn't like being told what to do. But coming from a German household and growing up in Germany and Munich, any Germans out there? Say hi in German if you're a German out there. Um, we had so much discipline in our house. And if you look at like Mother Teresa, do you know what people say? Oh, she's just so free. She does whatever she wants. No, she used to time her days by the church bells, and then she would do everything that way. So I see some Germans out there. Cool. um, so we'd have to every morning on Saturday morning. It was early, 6 a.m. I'm all warm under my feather bed and curled up. Nope, not for long. My mother slams open the door and hits the wall and aufstehen, aufstehen, which means get up, get up. And she'd open the blinds, and I like, and then she'd grab my feather bed and throw it off and throw it on the ground. Like, now you got to do the sheets. So I have this habit now, right? Always had to make your bed. Always, always, always. So these are disciplines. I didn't want to do it, but I did do them, and it gave me great results. And it's the same thing in your business. Are you missing some of these? Is it the triggers that are getting you? Is it the habits that you're not sticking to? Or is it the routine, right? You can talk all you want about what you're going to do, but if you don't do it, you're not going to get the results. And we see this a lot with clients. When they first come in, I'm like, well, you've had this business for 7 years. Why are you not over $100,000 yet? Take home. Why is that not happening? I'm like, all right, there's all these reasons. Reasons are excuses in disguise. And so what are your reasons? Okay. And they usually come down to routines, and the routines are going to cost you an arm and a leg, and most likely your business within 5 years. So we have to get away from that. How do we do this? How do we take advantage of this hyper-focus phenomenon period that we are in right now? And so what we need to do is two things. We need to really narrow our focus. Okay, narrow your focus. Now, if you are familiar with the book Soar, I'm going to tell you about that in a second. And narrow your focus. Okay, this is the book Soar, and so it's a best-selling book. It has in here all of the charts and the graphs in here of everything that you need to do and how we do it. This 4-step formula is the foundation of growing your business. It's what we've used for over 20 years, right? It's all about everything that you do is only 4 steps, and that's, guess what? It's a discipline. And if you can't do the 4 steps, you're going to fail. So how are you on your disciplines? This is the routine that we create for you, right? So if you look at this, this is the sort of mascot of our business. It's a cube, okay? Why? Because it looks like a square, right? With 4 sides. And whichever way you put a cube, right, it's going to land and it's going to be perfectly balanced. But then you also see it has a lot of depth to it, right? And so that's how your business is, because a carbon model, the carbon, like if you think of carbon fiber and racing, I used to be the COO of a racing company, and the cars were built out of carbon fiber. And why? Because carbon is indestructible on atmospheric pressures, right? And so if you think about it, we want your business to be indestructible. So we follow the physics concepts of a cube, right? Now, what most people do is they complicate it a little and they follow a Rubik's Cube. And they think, oh, it's still a cube. A cube is a cube is a cube. No, okay? So what happens is they can't ever seem to line up all the colors and the right sides to make their business actually start to work. And so what we say is you have to grow fast by really simplifying things. Now, if you would like to really max out your marketing and max out your business, here's what you need to do. You need to actually figure out, what is my weakness? What is holding me back? What is my bottleneck? Usually, if you look in the mirror, it's you. Okay. So if you want to take the SOAR quiz and figure out which of the 4 blocks do you have that are keeping you from hyper growth, just go to thesoarquiz.com, or type #quiz, and we'll get you the quiz and you can take it and see, what is my number 1 block? Because there's not a lot to figure out, right? There's 1 block. You have 1 block. And when you figure that out, and you'll know by that quiz, then we'll tell you the 1 remedy that you can do. And that's when you can totally soar. Isn't that simple? Okay. You don't need 28 million steps. It's so simple. Okay. So let's take a look at the 5 things that you need to do to achieve hyper growth. Okay. The first thing is only offer 1 thing. You need 1 core offer. That's it. Right there. Stop. Don't create anything else. Don't add other things. Don't say, well, I'm doing this and I also do this and I also do this. Make $1 million on that 1 thing and then add more. Right? Until you do, you don't have it perfected. You don't know your process. And if you try to add something else, you don't know if it's going to match, if it's going to be twice the work, if it's going to dilute you. There's too many problems by having more than 1 core offer. And if you don't know which one should be your core offer, just type #call and show me your offers and I'll give you an answer right away. It's not that hard to see. Okay. So that's number 1. What's the second thing that you have to do for hyper growth and use AI with this? By the way, if you need some help with that offer, once you build out that core offer, then we can build everything around it using AI, right? Your websites, your landing pages, your messaging, everything. Now, the next thing is you need a high ticket solution. This is where people resist me a lot. And they think, I can't sell that. That's the number 1 reason people don't have high ticket, because they think they can't sell. That's why I said this is a mindset. Sales is a mindset. And so is growth. It's a mindset. You have to absolutely know for certain that you can do this. So what's your high ticket thing, right? And why do you have to do high ticket? Because it eliminates the competition. And very few people can deliver the value that is required to make somebody pay for high ticket. And when you have higher ticket products, guess what you also have? You have a higher ticket client, and their lifetime value is a lot higher. They stick with you for many, many years. And that's what you want. You don't want transactional sales where people come and they go and they come and they go. Why? Because that's what we talked about at the beginning, is that's where you're in this cycle, right? Of fulfillment and lead generation, which means you make money, you don't. You make money and you don't. And if that's your business, you created a jail cell, you created a lead generation business instead of a sales machine. Okay. That's what you need to build, right? And if you build your marketing right, you don't need to sell much because the marketing does it all. Okay. So again, if you want the SOAR quiz, if you want to figure out how do I use these 4 principles, imagine how much simpler your business could be with just using the 4 SOAR principles. So just type the SOAR quiz if you do want to win in business and you do want to take advantage of these hyper growth systems. Now, if you are using AI, let me know. Just type down AI down below if you are using it. If you have a favorite tool you like to use, where do you like to use it? Let me know. Because if you're just starting, or maybe you tried it and it got confusing and you didn't know how to do it and this whole prompt thing was over your head, I have an awesome book on prompts. You can just type #prompts if you want that. And I have even better than awesome team here. Angie and Sandy are working here today with me, and they will contact you tomorrow and get that for you. Okay. So what is we talked about, the next thing is rapid implementation. Number 3, rapid implementation. What does that mean? That means you have to scale fast. Okay, here's the problem. Most people are growing their business too slow. They're like, oh, okay, well, I made another $5,000 over last year, $10,000, and it's just not enough. Okay, so here's the thing. It's so easy to go from, it's 80% easier to go from 250,000 to a million than it is to go from 0 to 100,000, right? It's 4 times greater, 8 times easier. So what you want to do is scale up quickly. Right now, if you don't know how to do that, it's probably because you're not using some of the hypergrowth tools and the AI tools. You're probably overcomplicating it. You probably don't have an even square. Maybe you have an 8-sided uh, shape. You know what that is? That's the sign of a stop sign. Okay, so you're probably doubling the complexity that you need. Okay, a square is only 4 sides, a stop sign is 8. Most people are overcomplicating their business, and if you're overwhelmed, that's you. And so you need to stop. Okay, if you need some help, just book a 5-minute call, and we can show you how to double your profits. Just say hashtag double, and I'll show you exactly how you can double your profits. So we know we've got to scale. That's where AI really comes in, right? As we get into these principles, we get higher and higher up, the AI becomes more and more your friend. Now, step number 4 for hyper growth is to use iconic technologies. This is the thing that becomes your game changer. This is something where we have cornered the market. We have Iconosphere. We have our profit acceleration software, and that's proprietary. We have digital acceleration software. We have so much. We have the SOAR technology and SOAR technologists that we have who actually teach it. And here's the thing. If you're not using the right technology, you're going to be behind. And if you think about something like Amazon, right? Amazon is a great store and it's a great company. They have all these distribution, but you know what's the key about the distribution about Amazon? It's not how do they get all those trucks on the road. It's the software to make it work. Okay, so how do you figure all of that out? What is the thing that tells you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and how much and how long? In what order? So imagine if you had that, if you had a crystal ball where, okay, maybe it's a crystal cube, okay? You have a crystal cube that tells you exactly what to do, when, how, where, why. Wouldn't you love that? Okay, and then you could say, will this move me ahead faster or slower? How long will this take? How long will this project cost? Do I need to add more people? Guess what? We have that technology for you. And if you want to see it, then just type hashtag double. I'll show it to you. And I will take your business and put it in there so that you can actually see what it works. What is those steps that you would need to do to take your business and scale it from 6 to 7 figures in 1 year or less without any of the stress or the struggle or the overwhelm that you've probably been facing until now, right? Because this is the time for hyper growth, right? We just finished the first 100 days. Now we're heading right into hyper growth. And if you're a small to medium business, this is your time. So you really have to capitalize on it. And again, if you want to take the SOAR quiz, just type hashtag SOAR, okay, SOAR, or just go to thesoarquiz.com. And it's less than 4 minutes to take that quiz, and you will be able to see which of the 4 breaking points is your dominant roadblock or bottleneck, okay? So imagine if you could figure out once and for all what's stopping you. Why are you not making enough money, right? Wouldn't you love to know? Because then you could fix it. Right now you're guessing and you're trying all these things in the dark, right? You're walking on ice and you're slipping and falling over and over and over and over. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go get the replay, okay? Just type hashtag replay so we can get that for you. So we know we have to scale faster. We know we need the technology, the right technology, not 12 different pieces you're piecing together. That's why we call it an iconosphere. Right? Everything is in a certain biosphere with everything talking together. So what's the last piece? The last piece is brand visibility. Now, this is not necessarily an order, okay? But this is what I said at the very beginning, right? Get seen every day. How are you going to be seen every day? Some of you are seen every day. I see you on stories and reels, and oh my God. Um, we were talking today, like I have this obsession, right? Some people are seeing too much. A new fad, like there's fads that goes on and people are being seen, but for the wrong reasons or in the wrong light. Okay. So there's this thing that women are doing right now, especially women who are very conscious aesthetically. And they're all doing this thing, what we call here, the iconic family, the man brow. You guys remember how men used to have like a unibrow, like it's just one big eyebrow? Um, well, women are doing this to their faces, right? I know this is nothing to do with our talk today, but I'm just going to tell you, start looking out for it because I might make a video of this. And if my team is watching, they might be losing it right now because every morning we're sending pictures of who's got the man brow. Um, so I used to be in modeling for a number of years. And there's this thing. What you're supposed to do is like take the corner of your eye and go straight up, and that's where your eyebrow starts. And then you take the corner of your eye on the outside, and then you go to this angle, and that's where your eyebrow starts. What are women doing? They're making this eyebrow go all the way across. They have like a little eighth of an inch space in between here. Look for it. You'll see it. If you guys know what I'm talking about, is this crazy? In a way, it's crazy, but it does tie to business. And here's why. Because somebody got on this bandwagon and somebody started doing this with their brows, and then they started going a little more and a little more and a little more, and now it's overdone. Okay. And this is what's happening in business. People see somebody do something and then they think, oh, that's what people are doing, I'll do that and I'll do that and I'll do that, and you're going so off track, right? Your brand is off. Okay. Ladies, in a couple of years, you're going to look back and think, what was I thinking, right? Remember the big perms? Okay. This is all your brand. What is your brand saying in the marketplace? Are you defying what you are? Are you a female trying to be wearing a man brow? Okay. What is it that you are doing or not doing to have brand visibility? And if you're getting the visibility, is it going to be the wrong kind? Okay. Obviously, our company, the Iconic Brands, is our parent company. We specialize in building iconic brands. If you want a brand that builds a legacy and it speaks for itself, right? And it's a high class, it attracts high target, high echelon people. You offer a high value product and you're not slinging mud. Okay. That's what you want to build. That's how you get hypergrowth. You don't get hypergrowth with low ticket buyers and low ticket products. So yes, I love the aesthetic, but get your aesthetic right. Okay. So we talked a lot about all of these things. What you're trying to do, the bottom line is you really want to leverage all of these tools. There's 7 points of leverage, right? You can leverage people. You can leverage money, software, which we talked about. Marketing is vital. How to use that to take advantage of hypergrowth. Knowledge, the intel, the intellect, right? The technologies that are out there and the people. Like it's not just your knowledge, somebody else's knowledge, so that you don't fall on your assets. And you can leverage emotions. If you're really good with copywriting, you can really leverage emotions and get people to take a look at you and buy, and then you can leverage your time. And that's how you can easily take advantage of this hyper growth period. Now, next week, we're really going to talk about momentum. This is where we're going to show you how to really, really grow. In fact, one of the ways we're going to start is by fixing your ugly website. All right. I want you to bring your website to the show. Give me the link, put the link to your website down below, and I'll give you an analysis on your website for next week. Just come on back. I am definitely going to fix your ugly website. I'm having nightmares over some of them I've seen, and I want to make it so that everyone has a beautiful website and no man brows. We'll see you next week, 5 o'clock on Tuesday.